Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be an update on the modular house that I have been making. A lot has happened since the last video I posted on it. Well, that I recorded. This video will come out the day after part 2. It's been a lot of work since then. And so the way these videos for the modular house are going to work from now on is, since I do a lot of the work on this off camera, I'm going to start a new series where I model a bookshelf. And that will be strictly for you guys, and I'll only work on it when I'm recording. That way we can sort of go through the process together. For this, what I will be doing is I will be essentially posting update videos on it. Every so often I'll record a video and I'll go over all the additions that I did, any problems I had, anything that I learned, stuff like that. And this will be kind of how this video series will continue from this point on. So without further ado, let me sort of go over what I've done a little bit. I have the entire porch laid out in part 2. That is what I was working with and struggling with quite a bit. I've learned a little bit since that video on how to do things a little bit more efficiently. I have done some work on the windows, actually put windows in the window frame. So these are all pretty much done. I put glass in it, the front door. I did a little work on the front door, just a tad bit, a little work on the doorknob and whatnot. Put some windows in. I got stairs in finally. So there are stairs inside of this. Let me go ahead and bring up, as far as the inside goes, I haven't really done too many details on that. Let's see. Why am I having, oh, because I dragged it. I put gutters on. I have those wrapping around the front porch, and then I have them up here. I still have to do the back ones, but I'm trying to determine whether it would even make sense to really do the back ones, because this particular model, I can't really think of any scenes that I have so far where the player would be like in the backyard. I have ideas for scenes where the player might come through and there might be a glass door here, or they might walk around, find himself in the backyard. But I haven't sort of nailed those down as being for sure scenes that I want to add in. But so I'm going to leave that open to do. I'll probably build the parts, which I actually think I should be able to completely model this section with the parts that I have. So I should be able to do that. I haven't decided if I want to put, like I said, if I want to put a door here or not. I may not. It just all depends on how I want to do things. I'm having shading issues on these, and I've found, I haven't changed it with these yet, but I've found that shade smooth tends to help rather than the shade by angle. And then, yeah, I think those look a little bit better. The inside part right here I'm not too worried about, primarily because you're not going to see that, you're there's going to be a window frame in here and a window in there, so you're not going to see it. The floor, obviously there's shading issues there. I'll fix that eventually. The floor is not 100% set in stone. Yeah, I'll probably change that out to where the walls just stack on top of each other, and then the floor just follows the outline of the walls, kind of, just because I don't like this little gap there. I mean, yeah, sure, it could be trim. I could put a trim piece, and that kind of hides that. You know, the seams between the floor. I have to sort of, yeah, I have to figure that out, how I want to hide that. I want to keep it. There's going to be trim up here, obviously, so that would hide it, but I don't know. It's just something I need to work on, figure out how I want to do it. The railings for the porch. These railings that I made, I just went online, I looked up, you know, 1980s porch railings and came up with something kind of like that. Well, I'm just saying this kind of looked funky. I think it's because of why is that? Yeah, I see the different colors right there. I think that's just because I'm in now. That's weird. I'll have to figure out what's causing that. If it's just how I got this shaded or what. Oh, that seemed to have fixed it. Just putting the weighted normal on there. And also because I should go back and do it to all of these, but as you can see here, rather than having each board fully 3D, I kind of decided to cut down on the faces, because if you look underneath, you know, we got all these faces under here and I don't really like that. However, I have recently, the more I read, the more I realize that the more I've, you know, I'm kind of reading conflicting things, that you should delete all faces, you know, to decrease the polygon or the triangle count. But then also I'm hearing that for putting it into Unreal Engine 5, you kind of want things to be like an enclosed box to prevent light leaking. And I experienced that a little bit because I took some of these walls and the door and stuff, put it into Unreal Engine 5, and I was getting light leaking. And so when I put the kind of side walls that you wouldn't see back on, that actually fixed that. So I'm not sure, maybe someone with more experience with the Unreal Engine 5 sort of pipeline can give me some insight on whether or not deleting these edge faces, if there's another way to solve the light leaking problem other than just putting these edge faces back on. Because so far that's what I'm doing. I actually went back and put them all back on because I go online, I look it up, and there's conflicting reports. So I'd be interested to hear what any viewers of this video might have to say in regards to that, any insights they might have. But anyway, back to the porch railing. So yeah, all I did was look up 1980s porch posts, I think that's, or porch railings, I think that's what I put into Google, and they gave me a design similar to this, not exact. I kind of wanted to change it up a little bit, make it a little bit more my own, I guess. In the picture they had square things up here. I decided to go with a full circular deal, and then, you know, just extrude and scale and do all that till I had what I wanted. A little bit of a learning exercise, I suppose you could say. One issue I'm having though is if you look up here, they're pretty high poly, and I've gone back and I've deleted a lot of the loop cuts and stuff like that I put on, and so I've been trying to minimize, like maybe dissolving that, minimize them without taking away the form of it, you know, without it starting to look a little blocky. So I'm kind of messing with that a little bit, you know, trying to bring down the number of triangles to as much as I can, but keeping that level of detail that I want, because 16,000 seems like a lot for a simple railing, especially like I have to go all the way around. If one of these pieces is 16 grand, then it's gonna be a lot, you know, especially like this span, I'm gonna want to keep everything consistent. For the stairs, I'll go down here, I'll go, oh, I want to put a railing right there. So yeah, I need to figure out how to optimize that a little bit better. Once again, I go online and people say triangles, if you're importing it to Unreal Engine 5, triangles don't matter because of nanite. But then I also read a lot of stuff about how nanite's not a fix-all, and it shouldn't be a substitute for properly optimizing your assets and stuff like that. So if anyone who watches this video with experience in Unreal Engine 5 and asset creation, give me some insights. How do you do things? How do you not do things? You know, what have you heard? What have you tried? Stuff like that. You know, what's given you the best outcome when it comes to performance and stuff like that. You know, any little bit helps. So, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I've been working on when it comes to the house, this house model. Primarily gutters, windows, and then the handrails for the porch. These are the current project that I've been working on. After the handrails, I kind of want to do all the outside stuff and then move into the inside as far as like the house details go. If I hit this, as you can see, I have all my parts. Some of these aren't, you know, some of these may not make the cut. Like this little guy right here, this is just an experiment of, you know, a damaged wall. Baseboards, I'll most likely create a couple variation of baseboards depending on what I like or what I don't like. My idea is to be able to use these parts to build, you know, different variations of this house. Because one scene that I would like is to have this house, this particular one, but then also have a couple others that are similar in style but different in layout, and to create kind of like a neighborhood type deal. So this is kind of the base for all of that. But yeah, as you can see, I put the top face back on and the side faces. A couple of these I haven't gotten around to it, like this, and then okay, so I did do the roofs, and then the porch. I'm probably going to export those into Unreal Engine 5 and then see how the lighting works on those before I decide to put those in with these window frames. I'm almost thinking I might not. Once again, I'll test them to see what kind of light leaking I get. If I don't get any light leaking, then everything works good. Then I'll go ahead and just keep them the way they are. But once again, I'm going to create a couple different variations of window frames, different trims and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, going forward, these videos are primarily just going to be me coming back to this every once in a while and going over the changes. That way you guys still have, updates on the progress of the house and stuff like that, since this is, this project was sort of my, debut into YouTube and documenting my journey learning Blender and other things. You can see I put some baseboards right here to see what it looks like. Actually, I exported those to Unreal Engine 5. I wanted to see what the hallway looks like. The texture I'm thinking for the inside is just kind of like a sheetrock plaster type deal. Just basic. I'm kind of going for a middle class sort of 1980s look, I guess. Nothing super futuristic or even real super modern. I want the inside to kind of remind someone of, an older house, a house you might find in the 1980s, early 90s, stuff like that. So yeah, this is where I'm at. I will be doing more work on this in between the bookshelf videos that I have been working on. I have a couple episodes of that already recorded. I just gotta edit the recordings and make sure everything's presentable. And once I do that, I will release those, publish those. I'll try and get the ones that I have already recorded, published probably the same day, maybe in a day or two. I want to get this one out first. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. I will keep you guys updated on this, and in the meantime, you get to watch me struggle with building a bookcase. And it's a bookcase that started off as I was just going to build a simple bookcase, but then things kind of spiraled out of control and it became a little bit more elaborate than my current skill level, but the struggle is part of the learning experience. So, alright, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.